good morning all of you. I take this opportunity to welcome in this national conference on capital market organized by the CFMIP committee of ICAI and hosted by WRC of ICAI. And in the first session, we have amongst us none other than the past president of ICAI, CA Aniket Talati sir. Please put your hand together for him. We have another dignitary, Shri Deven Choksi ji, who is the founder and MD of DR Choksi FinServ. And we have Central Council member, CA Arpit Kabra ji, CA Vishnu Agarwal ji, and CA Preeti Savla ji. I request all the CCMs to please escort the dignitaries on the dais. Yes. I also recognize the presence of the chairman of the committee, CA Durgesh Kabra sir, Central Council member, and vice chairman of the committee, CA Dayanivas Sharma sir, Central Council member of SEI. So with this, I request all the members to come forward for motto. Okay, I'm sorry. So before starting, हम सब लोग यहाँ पे वेट कर रहे हैं कब से कि अपना सेशन कब शुरू होगा. And this is how, when you wait, when you have patience, it goes long way in the market also. बाजार में सब्र वाले जीत जाते हैं. हर गिरावट में जो मौका देख जाते हैं, जो डर के बेच दे वो अफसोस लिख जाते हैं, और जो टिक के देखे वो इतिहास लिख जाते हैं. With this, I request all the participants to put your hand together for the dignitaries on the dais. So before starting, I'll request the Central Council member, CA Arpit Kabra ji, to give his remarks and address the audience in 2 minutes.
Good morning, everyone. And I think we're meeting after Diwali, so happy Diwali, happy New Year to all of you. I'm sure it's time Diwali अब बना लेंगे. अभी तक तो एक्चुअल दिवाली बनती है और आज कैपिटल मार्केट्स का सेशन है, तो आई एम श्योर सब दिवाली बनाएंगे. IPOs हो रहे हैं और आज इतने बड़े स्पीकर्स हैं. सो देवेन चोक्सी जी इज़ हियर. I remember him from, he was our chief guest in our regional conference, and believe me, while he was addressing, he spoke about some important scripts, and after that, so many members came back to me and said, we need Deven sir again. And today he's back with us, so welcome. Let's have a huge round of applause for Deven bhai. Thank you, Deven bhai, for joining us. In the entire paradigm shift that we see today as chartered accountants, whatever that is happening around us, one person who makes the most sense and one person who is actually making the right noise about what's going to happen next, we have with us today none other than an illustrious past president, but more importantly, a young achiever and someone who has never accepted no for an answer. Please put your hands together and welcome CA Aniket ji Talati, the past president of ICAI. Believe me, when he will speak, and believe me, the kind of address, the kind of wisdom that he carries, and it is not just restricted to India. We actually, if stalking is the right word, maybe that could be the one. We see what Aniket bhai is actually doing. So today, these days, he's rather focusing in Japan, he's focusing in Korea, and he's focusing in Germany. So therefore, I've already given a hint that, we all are here and expecting something to hear from him about all these 3 locations. And of late, of course, Riyadh. So let's hear from him. Kuwait, sorry, he's about to travel to Kuwait. So we'll understand that, what is it that attracts his attention there. Today, of course, under the aegis of Durgesh ji Kabra and Dayanivas Sharma. Dayanivas Sharma ji again comes from Hyderabad. We call him the tech master of the ICI because he heads the Digital Accounting Assurance Board, of whom I am the vice chairman. To all of you present out here, I'm sure you will hear about capital markets day in, day out for 2 days. But more importantly, you will hear these people, and it is important that you mark something important. And I always say this, when a CCM comes in or when a Central Council member comes in, probably he would always try and give you a direction. जैसे बड़े capital markets के पंडित होते हैं, वो direction देते हैं. They will tell you the hints. They will give you drop lot many things. Probably all of us will do the same. I just want to take a quick minute of yours and apprise you before I end my conversation with you here, and I'm of course here for both the days. I'm here with you all. Very importantly, recently a paper has been published by NFRA on the audit memorandum. If you read that paper, the first line says, the NFRA staff has put together a document under its initiatives of outreach, education, 3-4 more words, everything and anything that has nothing to do with monitoring of audit quality. Why am I saying this to all of you is because all of you are members of this great organization. As an elected representative of this organization, it is sometimes I see an irony when things like these happen. There are a section of people who keep saying that ICI is only doing event management activities. ICI is only doing this, ICI is only doing that. But let me tell you friends, we are recognized not only in India but worldwide for these activities of constantly upskilling ourselves, learning ourselves. And so these CP programs that we do, that we talked about, and it's a shame that none of the top brass recognizes us as a great educator and a trainer to this entire country, because right now as I speak, 60 officers of CID, which Dayanivas ji will of course talk about, police officers are being trained by the ICI. We've trained almost every official in the enforcement agencies. We've almost trained everyone on cyber security so that we all are safe when it comes to fraud, cyber frauds. An entire army is being put together, which doesn't look standing in a uniform. They are largely, there with their minds and with their tools. And to power them is ICI, the DAB, the Digital Accounting Assurance Board, which does this work. But when a section of our membership says that, we are just an event management activity and they put names to us, one, of course, it is embarrassing and it is shameful. The other is, please understand, if a body which has been formed to regulate chartered accountants and auditing profession in the country, when that body starts saying this, you understand what is the importance. You all remember, you all know, whenever it comes to GST, whenever it comes to income tax, whenever it comes to customs or any other body, you have to go and speak to those bureaucrats every now and then, request them for a hearing, request them for this, for that. That is not happening in ICI yet. But imagine if these programs, and if you are all supposed to be a part of events or programs or learning sessions organized by another organization which is run by bureaucrats, and you can imagine what is going to happen. So it's time now, friends, we need to realize if there is a single slight instance of anything hampering the freedom of our organization, I think we'll all have to come together, keeping aside all the differences, if any, or whatever, but it's a food for thought. These are signs of things to come. So it's important that we understand that, realize that elected representatives should always override bureaucracy. That is the basic definition of democracy. But yes, of course, today we are here to understand what are our careers in capital markets, and I would request all of you that please take out time and understand, as we have Preeti Savla ji over here, Vishnu Agrawal ji is over here. Whenever we all are around, please understand and seek from all of them what's happening new in the council and what's going to happen. Rest all conversations you will get on WhatsApp, but what is actually happening inside, in the core, it is for all of us to understand. So I would be more than happy if you would ask questions to all of us about what's happening next, what's going to go in a particular direction. So direct taxes, I'm sure Vishnu ji is here. A lot of sustainability talk conversations are going on. Preeti madam excels in that. So whenever these conferences are here, I think it's हम लोग बोलते थे whenever one council member comes, it's 1+1 free. एक से एक साथ एक और लो, but it is important for you all to actually seek that information, and I'm sure we'll do that very well today here in these 2 days. Wish you all a great learning. We've got our WRC chairman who's done a lot of activities and whose regional conference is about to hit us very soon. Why therefore I started with Devin Bhai is remind all of you that regional conferences are one of the best networking sessions that we have in the West, and this conference is talked about across the country. The kind of conversations we have, the kind of interactions we do. So congratulations to you, Chairman, and all the best. I think all the regional council members, Jayesh Bhai, Sanjay Bhai, Piyush is here. I'm sure they'll make sure that this regional conference will another be a conference to be talked about. To all of you, please do support. Please keep seeing these signs of change, and whenever required by all of us, by ICI, please stand shoulder to shoulder. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, CCM sir. One of the important thing I missed to recognize, we have our leader at Regional Council, CA Ketan Sayya, in the house, Regional Council member and Chairman WRC, CA Ketan Sayya sir. We also have Regional Council member, CA Saurabh Ajmera ji, Sanjay Nikam ji, Jayesh Kala ji and Kamlesh Sabu ji present in the house. So with this, no doubt, as Arpit Bhai said, all the regional council members and central council members are basically the compass under whose guidance we all, under the direction, we all work together for the benefit of our fraternity. So with this, I request our next central council member, CA Vishnu Agrawal sir, to address the gathering in brief. Thank you.
Very good morning. Respected our own past president and today's session chairman, C. Aniket Talati, my younger brother, because when I was the chairman of the Western India Regional Council in the year 1718, he was the secretary of the WIRC, Western India Regional Council. So always I say my younger brother to council, friends, our central council member Preeti Savla ji, Arpit Kabra ji, speaker Devan Bhai, Piyush Chandak and myself has done study together for the CA in the Vasi hostel. Our central council member Durgesh Kabra ji, Daya Nivas Sharma ji, who come from Hyderabad, chairman of the Western India Regional Council Ketan Sayya ji, all the regional council member Galaxy present here, Saurabh Ajmera ji, Sanjay Nikam ji, Jayesh Kala ji, Kamlesh Sabu ji, senior in the profession, ladies and gentlemen. Before saying anything, I welcome each one of you in my hometown, home city, Kandivali, because we are from the suburb area and we chartered accountant, all from the Kandivali, Borivali, we are growing together. So I welcome each one of you in this Capital Market Summit organized by the Durgesh Kabra ji. Durgesh Kabra ji has done very hard work for organizing this program. From last 2 months, I have seen that Durgesh Kabra ji day and night is follow up with regional council and each team to success of this conference. So I congratulate Durgesh Kabra ji for your hard working and efforts. Friends, Daya Nivas Sharma ji, who came from, Daya Bhai, please, 2 minutes बैठिए. Sir, आप बैठिए. Daya Nivas Sharma ji, who came from Hyderabad. When I enter into the council on the 12th Feb of the 2025, friends, first I meet with the Daya Nivas Sharma ji. Daya Nivas Sharma ji, I have seen very energy in the Daya Nivas Sharma ji. Whenever I meet Daya Nivas Sharma ji in the council, after the council meeting in the hotel, always he speak about the student. Always he told me, Vishnu, student ka growth kaise hoga? Students are our asset of the chartered accountant fraternity. My each and every chartered accountant who's coming from the MSME, how we grow that chartered accountant, how the networking will be happen. Friends, this type of the vision, Dayanivas Sharma ji have, and he came from Hyderabad to especially guide my each and every MSME chartered accountant, SME chartered accountant. Yesterday I have discussed with him and I told him कि कांदिवली एरिया में कोई भी बहुत बड़े सी हम लोग नहीं है, यदि आपका गाइडेंस रहेगा तो my each and every chartered accountant is also come with the networking, because he recently he has done his firm is a network with another chartered accountant, and he is growing leaps and bounds, friends. His firm is growing, so I especially request to him, you come to the Kandivali and guide my each and every chartered accountant for the growing of the firm. Friends, Aniket Talati ji is the past president. He is very dynamic. When he was the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, friends, he has taken lot of decision for the profession. He has maintained the relationship with the bureaucrat and all the politicians from the central level. Friends, I have done with the work 3 years. 1 year he was the secretary of the Western India Regional Council, and 3 years as a together we have done as a regional council member. Fast decision maker, and whatever always challenge facing the situation, whatever problem he face, solution provider, he give the any solution within the 2 or 3 minutes. Friends, one day we were traveling to all the branches of the Gujarat when I was the chairman, and 12 hours we were together. In 12 hours, friends, he has given so many suggestions to me, and immediately within 12 hours we have each and every suggestion we have implemented. So thank you very much, Aniket bhai. And most especially, friends, his father is also past president, and he is also past president. His entire family given the contribution to the profession. So I salute to Aniket Talati ji, because his grandfather was also central council member. So grandfather was the central council member. His father was the past president, and he is also past president. And friends, I again congratulate to him, because he has given, he and his father has given 1 crore rupees to the CABF Benevolent Fund of the Chartered Accountant. Friends, I request each one of you, please join hand for Aniket Talati ji, who especially came from Ahmedabad to guide us. Friends, our Preeti Savla ji and Arpit Kabra ji is from our own Mumbai, so I will not talk about, otherwise you will be say कि ये तो आपस में एक दूसरे की तारीफ कर रहे हैं. Friends, our chairman is sitting here, but I can say, friends, our chairman is always goes to the WRC from 365 days, 24/7. He is working for the profession. So again, I request everyone to clap hand for our chairman, Ketan Sayya ji. Friends, the president has given the responsibility of the direct tax committee. As a regulator, friends, when Finance Bill 2025 has introduced in the Parliament, friends, the Parliament formed one committee that is called Select Committee, and Select Committee has invited to the ICI to give the suggestion on the Finance Bill 2025. Our main challenge in the Section 288, that our sister institute is also approaching to the Select Committee to introduce his name in the Section 288 for the tax audit. So it is very challenge before us. Just I entered into the council, and president has given the responsibility to present the whole clauses before the select committee. Friends, we have presented each and every clause before the select committee. In select committee, the 31 member of the parliament was there. Friends, each and every clauses we have given the suggestion, and today I am happy that more than 100 suggestions the CBDT select committee has accepted from the ICI. First time in the history, more than 100 suggestions they have accepted, and I am more happy that Section 288 definition they have not changed, because we have prominently, as a regulator, we have said that audit power remains same with the chartered accountant only, because during the course of the articleship period and in our syllabus we teach the tax audit, income tax, and all the aspect relating to the 3CD and 3CB. Friends, again the parliament has taken the suggestion for all the forms they have revised, because all the income tax act has been changed. Now the income tax bill has become income tax act. So parliament CBDT has also taken the suggestion for revising all the forms of the ITR 127 and 3CD also. Friends, I will not take much of the time because I want to give the much of the time to the Aniket Talati ji and Devan Bhai, and my our Central Council member Preeti Sabla ji will also speak. Friends, with these words, I thanks to each one of you, and I can assure you that whatever and anything will become, but all the regulated power the ICI will be have, and in the next session our President sir will also speak about the profession. So these words I thanks to each one of you for participating here, and I special thanks to Durgesh Kabra ji for organizing this program. Thank you friends.
Thank you, Vishnu sir. Now I request Central Council member Preeti Savla ma'am to address the gathering.
Very respected and honorable past president ICI, CA Aniket Sunil Talati, colleagues in the council present on the dais, C. Arpit Kabra, C. Vishnu Agarwal, Speaker Devin Choksi, and I can see Durgesh Bhai has just gone out, but C. Dayanivas Sharma ji, and Chairman WIRC Ketan Sayya, WRC council members, Kamlesh Sabu, Jayesh Kala, Sanjay Nikam, Saurabh Ajmera, seniors and my dear friends. I think on this, even if there is a due date extended, and I can see the gathering in huge number, and I understand 400 plus participants, all heads off to Durgesh Bhai, Daya Bhai and Chairman WRC for getting together entire structure and the structure of this program. As regards to the exchange, and because it's capital market, let me tell you about how the system is functioning about the exchanges. The India as a very dynamic country and developing, going to $5 trillion economy, and I can see we have the exchange which is the largest in terms of transactions of the world, and the clearings, the T+1 and the technology we have, the other countries are also taking from India, and that is the best thing what India has and best innovation what India is doing. In next 2 days, today and tomorrow, we'll see various speakers coming in and talking all about the funds, the mutual funds and the market and everything. But I can see the strong investor protection fund, SGF. I don't think any country has this kind of secure investor protection and the security which our India and our exchanges have built in. Similarly, if I can see the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, where we all are the members, is one of the strongest and largest institute of the world. And when we see the initiatives which we have taken, when we see the initiatives of the technology what we have undertaken here, starting from the COVID times, I remember during my chairmanship, everyone was blaming, ye kya online payment ho raha hai, ye kya you are not taking the checks or membership, and heads off to Aniket Bhai, Daya Bhai, and entire team at that time. Praful Bhai was the president, the SSP portal which they have put lots of efforts and started, and not a single, and everyone is now then blessed, institute is blessed that entire system, entire ecosystem is online and we have built, and that are the efforts which have been actually put by our council members. Friends, similarly in other ways, whether it is forensic, which is taken charge by Arpit Kabra, he will do and see and ensure that the forensic is done in each area in the institute, not only in his committee. And that is led by Daya Bhai, also DAB, and we are coming out not only this forensic standards which we have implemented at India, mandatory implementation, and which other countries are taking from us, and that also friends, now these IS system audit standards which are being developed, and very soon it will be released, and that is what ICAI, CA India can only do that, and none other country has thought. Similarly, if we talk about sustainability also, the what India social stock exchange and social audit impact assessment standards, so impact assessment standards which we have built, no other country has built, and that is the opportunity for all our members. Also, I am telling this because I am also chairing this Sustainability Reporting Standards Board. Friends, direct tax, the efforts which Vishnu Bhai is taking, and first time in the history of ICAI, let me tell all of you that Income Tax Act also been analyzed and printed by ICAI, which is also available in publication online by ICAI. These are the efforts. I don't have that much time to actually go into depth, but if you see, I don't know how many of you all are seeing, visiting the institute website, a lot of material on the standards. Recently we have released the books for the certificates, everything is there, friends. Please visit and see, download and see that what best we can implement in our practice. There are a lot of areas. So with this, I am leaving all of you a food for thought to how to grow your practice. We are with lot of aggregation of firms committee we have, bringing lot of things also for growth and the networking of the firms also. Please visit the website, and food for thought for all of you going forward, how to grow in your profession. With these words, I wish all of you all the best for this 2 days conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, madam. So we have our past president, C. Aniket Talati sir amongst us, a man with strong professional ethics. No doubt that he is the past president of ICAI, and we all know him by heart. So thanks, sir, and over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Apologies, my dear Piyush Bhai. Even when I was president, I used to say that no introductions, please. One, it is more efficient for time. And second, इंस्टीट्यूट ना प्रेसिडेंट बनने के बाद अगर इंट्रोडक्शन देना पड़े तो क्या प्रेसिडेंट बने. तो ठीक है, जो जानते हैं, very good. If you don't, I am Aniket Talati. I hail from Ahmedabad, and I had the privilege of being the president of the institute. To Durgesh Bhai, who's been the person who's been instrumental in organizing this very important conference here, the Vice Chairman Daya Bhai, my compliments to see such a wonderful hall on a Friday morning here in Mumbai. Truly a pleasure. Chairman of the region, our chairman Ketan Bhai, who's been very active. He was in Ahmedabad for our Diwali get-together not too long ago, and I've seen him travel across the region, connecting membership, trying to see how all of us who are not privileged to be in Mumbai can still get access to all the wonderful technical sessions. So keep doing the great work, Ketan Bhai. My colleagues who I've worked with in the past in some form, Vishnu Agarwal ji, my chairman when I was in the regional council and had a wonderful opportunity to work with him. He belongs to this area, and I have come here for the second time. The first time I came was thanks to him and Vishnu Bhai. I think the amount of service that you put in to make sure that every member is comfortable. मैं सुबह आया तब से शायद 150 लोगों को विष्णु भाई ने पर्सनली हाथ मिला के नाम से बुलाया होगा, and would have ensured that they are comfortable. I think that is a heart of gold, Vishnu Bhai, that you have, and I wish that you continue doing all that you do for this area. So I think big round of applause for Vishnu Bhai and the efforts that he puts in. Preeti Ben, another member with whom I have been in the region council, central council, and now it's a second term. I think leading from the front. Today we talk about women members, 1/3 members being women, more than 42% students being girls, and she is the only women representative from the western region, representing all you wonderful women in the council. And what a wonderful job she is doing, leading on social audits, leading on the various initiatives that the institute, of course, was on a very nascent stage in terms of sustainability or social audit, but I think she's doing phenomenal job, and I think the calm composure that she brings to the council is truly unique. So Preeti Ben, my best wishes to you. To my dear friend Arpit Kabraji, who happened to be the chairman of the WIRC when I was the president of the institute, and believe me, anything I had to do in Mumbai, of course I had some wonderful council colleagues, but chairman hote hain, and I just had to call him. समटाइम्स बोलता भी नहीं था और इशारों में समझ जाते थे कि क्या करना है. And we could do some wonderful events here in Mumbai. More importantly, contribute in so many regulatory events. It may be at various forums. He's always stood for the cause of the profession, for the cause of the membership. And another person who belongs to this area of Borivali and Kandivali, तो विष्णु भाई और अर्पित भाई आपके इलाके में आया हूँ, वीज़ा लेके आया हूँ. But thank you for inviting me and bestowing so much love. Piyush Chandak ji, the Vice Chairman, my dear Regional Council friends, Saurabh Ajmera ji, Kamlesh Sabu ji, Jayesh Kala ji, and of course Sanjay Bhai Nikam, who's here. I missed naming him, but I've known him from so many years, and wonderful work that you are also doing, Sanjay Bhai. Friends, let me maybe give some anecdotes before we hear a very important person, the person because of whom we are all here on this morning, Deven Bhai, who's going to, I'm sure, talk about some wonderful opportunities and also the present facts of the capital markets. I am not a person of the capital markets per se, because many of you will know I have always been involved in a lot of international audit, support services and international work that I end up doing for a lot of firms globally. But over the past few years, what I have noticed, and I'll maybe share a couple of anecdotes to drive home the point of what I believe is going to be the future of the capital markets. Some wonderful sessions have been curated by Durgesh ji and Dayabai along with Amit ji and this team who have ensured that you have 2 days of very strong technical sessions. But I think coming here I noticed one thing. Vishnu bhai mentioned about my 3 generations being in this profession. And if I have to correlate that, I think during that time when my grandfather was a chartered accountant, if a session on capital markets was to be held, तो मुंबई में था. It had to be in, old downtown Mumbai, where you had, of course, the BSE and the entire capital market was run. Fast forward to the next generation of my father, I think that's when BKC started coming up, and maybe the WIRC or ICI could think of doing an event not in South Mumbai but in BKC. But I think look at where capital market has gone. I think you can see it from how the events are being held. Today we are in Kandivali, which was earlier considered to be the suburb. Of course, a lot of our Gujarati community and trading community is in this area, and I'm sure it's always been a very strong place for equity market participation. But for Chartered Accountancy Conference to be held in this area truly speaks of how the capital market has evolved, and we are no longer restricted to only a few pin codes of Mumbai Central, but now capital markets have moved here. And what bigger sign can there be that when the Honorable President comes, he probably will mention he is going to do a session on capital markets in the next week in the town of Bhuj. And I think this itself showcases the sheer growth that the capital market ecosystem has seen, the sheer size of the market that India has to offer, and therefore I think we have only just begun. I can assume that if I was to come here maybe 8-10 years from now, maybe we'll have an event in Virar or maybe Virar or outside there, and we will still get so many chartered accountants active in the capital market. And I think that shows the depth of the Indian equity market. But more importantly, for all of you who are chartered accountants here, that shows the size of the opportunity that lies for us in this space. Today, I look at the mutual funds, you look at the fund managers, you look at the biggest fund houses, there are so many of our members who are making very important investment decisions, who are there in important roles. So I think the role of chartered accountants in the equity and capital market space has always been there. In fact, I had the privilege as the president of the institute to award the Lifetime Achievement Award to none other than Rakesh Jhunjhunwala ji, who again is from our fraternity and has been a great beacon of what chartered accountants can do in the capital market. But I think that was one part of what chartered accountants' role used to be. Today, my dear friends, there are so many opportunities that this capital market space offers. And to young chartered accountants, don't just look at fund management and equity research and that part of the business. There are so many other opportunities. It may be the valuation space, it may be due diligences. And for those who are in practice, we have always looked at practice from the statutory or the tax angle. But my urge and request to many of you will be, I think as the country grows in this capital market space, so many new IPOs are coming, so many new main board or SME board IPOs come. I think we all have a very important role to play. There's a very important service line which has now been started, of course, in India, but has been there globally for a few years, called IPO readiness. I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but as we offer a statutory audit service, GST service, income tax service, a very important service line for you can be IPO readiness, where each one of us has the potential to guide clients that before they file for the IPO, before the merchant banker is appointed, before the DRHP comes through, before your listing happens, and of course the final day when the bell rings in the exchange, there is a lot of work that all of us can do in preparing the company for IPO. It is not just about converting the company from private limited to public limited, to deciding on the bonus, whether you want to do a bonus, you want to do a share split. I think those are all tax transactions, and yes, those are important. But there is so much more to a company going public than just moving its capital and shifting from public to private or private to public in terms of a limited company. There are so many services that you can offer in terms of IPO readiness, making sure that the corporate governance framework is there, how the board should function, how there must be committees, because in India, for all these years, companies have always worked as family-owned, promoter-driven companies, where it is the MD which is deciding on everything. But what happens in the journey of listing is that you now need a corporate governance framework. You will have committees which will now have been chaired by independent directors, and they will be taking important decisions on remuneration and issuance and acceptance of the financial results. And therefore, a very important opportunity for chartered accountants to look at the IPO readiness services. My urge and request to all of you would be that yes, as professionals, 5 साल पहले 10 साल पहले अगर प्रोग्राम होता, most of us would be with a pen and paper and writing down citations. विष्णु भाई याद होगा, इनकम टैक्स का सेशन होता था और लोग साइटेशन लिख के जाते थे और काम आता था असेसमेंट में. आज ऐसे सेशन में लोग आते हैं और स्क्रिप्ट के नाम लेके जाते हैं, सर किस में डालूं, क्या करूं, किसका फ्यूचर दिख रहा है. यस, टाइम्स हैव चेंज्ड, हमें सबका हमारा फाइनेंशियल खुद का प्रॉस्पेरिटी भी देखना है. But I think besides these sessions giving us good tips and good guidances about which companies or which areas or which sectors are the sunrise areas, I think a very important aspect that chartered accountants can play is actually preparing that raw material which becomes the finished good in the form of listed companies, working with clients, working with companies to make them IPO ready. And I think there is a huge service line that is there. And let me give you one example. My dear friend Arpit Bhai mentioned about international experiences. I was in Japan recently, and many of you will be surprised. I was invited there. I was in the JICPA, which is the Japan Institute for Certified Public Accountants. And believe me, in the JICPA, the session that I took, where we had IFAC members from across the world, was where international members wanted to understand the IPO landscape. I welcome Jeevanji, who has joined us, somebody who I've known for a lot of years. Jeevanji, welcome to this session and look forward to hearing you. In Japan, I had the opportunity to present to their members and international members of IFAC about what is the IPO landscape in India. And imagine the kind of interest that the global participants here today have, where they were so curious and surprised and even, in that sense shocked that you have so many companies today in India which are going to IPO. There were questions on whether they are getting the right responses, and I had to tell them that it's not just response, they get oversubscribed multiple times, and that is the kind of appetite that today India has. And we have seen some of the largest Japanese companies who have their entities and subsidiaries here are getting listed here. And let me tell you, it was such a remarkable experience speaking there in Japan. And of course, I'm not an expert, like I said, on the capital markets. But one thing that people were always asking me there was about valuations and whether India will be expensive. And my personal view on this, again, and I caveat this not being an expert in this field or giving any advice, is that India or any developing country, Devenbhai, in that sense will always be expensive. To invest, I think there was a time when South Mumbai, you people would have invested. Today, if you ask somebody to invest in South Mumbai, what is the growth potential? Probably limited. But if you want to invest, I was coming here and I read, my articleship there, and Virar was considered to be other city, not even a suburb. And today I had hoardings which said apartment in Virar for 2 crores. In Ahmedabad you can get it in the most premium areas for 2 crores. But today Virar is there at that price. And what I'm trying to say is your appreciation, your price increase is always going to happen where there is growth or future potential for growth. And I think we should have no doubt in our mind, looking at the strong macroeconomic situation in India, the kind of potential that our businesses have, that we are here in the long run for a great capital market. Yes, maybe a few years, we may not have the kind of returns that all of us have been expected. But I think in the long term and long run, if you compare any developed economy or any capital market which is near our size, I think the potential lies here. And therefore, I think whenever I go as a part of IFSCA, which is GIFT Cities regulator, to various countries as a part of the delegation, there is so much interest in the investors there to have access to the Indian equity story, to the India growth story, and give some capital market exposure to them. I think with the setting of the Financial Service Center, many new funds will come in. You are all seeing today a lot of outbound funds are getting created in IFSCA. I think that is one part of what is happening where you are getting access to the international market. But I think what will eventually happen is a lot of money which is lying there internationally, not just of NRIs, but of foreign capital. I think it's going to be a great route to bring that and deliver some handsome returns for foreign investors through GIFT. I was supposed to be here for the GIFT session tomorrow, but due to some travel changes and other scheduling issues, it will not be possible for me there. But my request to all who are here, try and be a part of that session also. I think it's a great ecosystem. I am not saying this because I come from Gujarat or from Ahmedabad. I welcome Piyush Bhai, our council member. I'm saying this because the sheer size and growth of funds there, I have seen in front of my eyes. Today there are more than 1,000 funds which are already registered in GIFT, and I think this number will become a few thousand. The sheer size and growth that is coming up, the number of fund houses which are setting up offices there, I think there is tremendous opportunity. So as I conclude, my request to all our members here who have gathered, yes, you are interested in the capital markets for your own capital growth, for our clients' capital growth, but let us also see and explore how we can provide more services in this ecosystem, not just as merchant bankers, valuers or due diligence providers, but as IPO readiness service, where we can change the outlook of companies which are trying to become public and in the path of coming up with IPO, see how better corporate governance, better structures can be established so that we have a very strong and healthy capital market. My best wishes once again to all of you for a very successful session, and thank you once again Durgesh Bhai, Daya Bhai and the entire committee and WIRC for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your graceful remarks. Now we have amongst us the speaker for the session, CA Sri Deven Choksi ji, who is a wealth management and investment advisory brand which caters to the wealth management needs of individual investors, institutional investors from India and overseas, family offices of corporates, high net worth individuals and ultra high net worth individuals as well. He is the managing director of the organization that has been respected and distinguished name in the name of Indian capital markets for more than 3 decades. He has thrived on providing research-based earning opportunity to the investors. This is where people have given us recognition and respect in the industry. As a research house, they have better understanding of investment, the idea generation to the introducing young companions in the investor portfolio and taking it to the blue chip level as what they are successfully demonstrating for last 40 years. The market have become extremely dynamic and the investors wish to buy the conviction of an organization that makes it a part of their portfolio. So with this brief introduction, I present before you the founder and MD of the DR Choksi FinServ, Sri Deven Choksi ji.
Good morning, everybody. I hope it is still morning. Well, it's always wonderful to be among the most learned audience of the country, the professionals who basically understands everything. I come from the same profession, so it's always gratifying to see all of you here. You all have been, I think, patiently waiting for this event to happen, I guess. And when Durgesh Bhai asked me to come up and pick up this session, I said, what am I going to talk to those guys who are already learned? Some of you guys, I think, look into the books of everybody and you'll have more learned. So I'll try and put my best here. He ended up giving me a topic as well. I don't know where is he right now, but he ended up giving me a topic. I said, what do you want me to talk? He said, no, you can talk about this subject. Disruption leads to wealth creation is the subject given to me. I said I'll try my best. 2025 has been a year of disruption, of course. America started with Make America Great Again movement, and they brought in the disruption of highest degree, which world has never experienced. They ended up bringing all those kind of objectives for their country, which I definitely feel that I think they deserve to bring those, but the way in which I think they are implementing, the method of implementation, all of us have our own doubts on that subject. But we are not going into that. We are just picking up the subject disruption. Recently, Indian women cricket team, they also disrupted. And they also, I think, brought in the World Cup after 52 years. So it's a power, I think, of disruption which we all are experiencing. And since I just use this example of how the cricket team is also disrupting and probably winning the World Cup, two things which probably I noticed in this particular process. How the World Cup has been won, they have put in hard work, everything is known. Two things which appeal to me most in this entire process is the two narratives of the head coach Amol Mazumdar. In the semi-final, he put in a narrative because the score was 338 and winning was I think required for 339. Almost I think 7 per over in a 50-over match. And he ended up putting in a narrative, we just need 1 run extra. Instead of coach telling the entire team that we have to win and we have to make this particular game a live event, because 338, almost 7 runs per over chase is definitely I think a challenging one, and especially for a team who has never won the World Cup. So he just ended up putting this one-liner, we just need 1 run extra. Fast forward to the final match with South Africa, and the narrative changed. The narrative said, we just need 10 good deliveries which can ball the team out. Why I am using this? Because I think the subject is given in such a manner to me that I feel that I think every level of disruption that we are experiencing in front of us, they are actually leading to a significant amount of success. Here in this environment, I think we are talking about, thank you. Here in this environment, we are talking about wealth creation. Over there, I think we observed the success in the game itself. In this wealth creation era, India has been fortunate in my viewpoint. As I go back into history and see last 100 years, every country who has become developed country and created significant amount of wealth for themselves, they have had 20 good years for themselves. After 1929 recession in America, between 1930 and 1950, America significantly invested in infrastructure to become the country what they are today. After Second World War, Japan practically got finished. 1960 to 1985, 20-25 years for Japan. They created a complete history for themselves and became the most prosperous industrial nation. Small country like South Korea, similar situation happened to them, and because of the crisis in the currency ultimately, they were also affected and they became the industrial nation. Somewhere in the period of 1975 to 1995, kind of a period, they capitalized their presence in the world universe. Today, the Korean chaebols are some of the largest in the world. China is a recent example. Again, 1990-95 onwards till 2010-15, 20 years, and they become the factory of the world for producing anything and everything that you require. They got 20 years. As I always say in my talk, India has been extremely fortunate that we got over 20 years between 2015 to 2035. Last 10 years have been extraordinary years as far as our country is concerned. The kind of wealth that we have ended up creating as far as our GDP is concerned, market capitalization concerned, is certainly known numbers to all of you. We have completed 10 years of our journey. Thank you. This 10 years of our journey has been extremely fruitful journey, as I see. My association with Indian equity market, economy, after my education is of now almost 40 years. And I find that I think never before in past we have seen this kind of fabric as far as the country's growth program is concerned. We are today a nation, of course, with 140 crore people, $4.5 trillion worth of GDP, market capitalization in proximity of around $5 trillion, and we are growing at a GDP growth of around 7.5% today. Again, I think the format is fully set as I see it. And I think some of the important things in front of us, with this kind of growth rate, it is natural. In past, I think we have seen the kind of inflation would come up and shoot up. Last month, we have seen the inflation sub 2% in the region, and GDP growth continues to be on a higher side. Interest rate is down. What is happening? How can it happen? Government is developing the courage to bring down the tax rate, and the financial year started with the exemption of 12 lakh rupees income exemption. A family of 4 and you are saved, you are not taxed for about 48 to 50 lakhs of income. Never before in past, I think I have seen this kind of situation wherein money is left in the hands of consumers. GST in September, implementation with the reductions with practically 2 rates, again I think left a lot of money in hands of people, and yet the inflation is down, so is the interest rate, and along with that the growth rate is picking up. Why it is so? Something has fundamentally happened. That is what I think the curiosity says. And what is that fundamental change which has happened, and where if I reach, I think this particular inflation is down, interest rate is down, and I think that is where probably I think I focus my subject talk today. Go back into the 10 years and you find that I think variety of measures taken, including creating the infrastructure among everything else, be it power infrastructure, railroad, waterways, airport infrastructure, even data and communication infrastructure. I think variety of initiatives have been taken. But couple of those infrastructure initiatives which the government has taken, which is probably going unnoticed, or maybe it is not given that kind of importance because they are not seen physically. If I may count, one of the most success story that we have produced is UPI payments. Today, if this UPI payment business, if it had to become a corporate entity within the listed marketplace, it would have possibly commanded a market wealth of about $1 trillion. $1 trillion. That's the market wealth this particular organization would have commanded. It has silently happened. About 25 trillion transactions, 80% of the total transaction volume, anywhere to anywhere making the payment, allowing the government to collect money in 45 days, which used to be never used to be the case. Now all of these issues have actually started working systematically for the development of the economy. The payment cycles have started working faster. Because of these faster payment cycles, I think you are already having the situation of completing your transactions faster, and that is basically resulting into the growth in the economy in whichever area of activity that you see. Similar platform which has happened is online network of digital commerce. We are all very, very familiar with the e-commerce segment. We are experiencing the Amazon and the Flipkarts and JioMart kind of a e-commerce platforms as consumers. But then this government thought of creating an e-commerce platform largely for onboarding all the merchants who are basically wanting to go live and put digitally their entire business. They created this particular platform in a similar manner in which the UPI platform was created. It's already about $50 billion wallet now, and it is expected to grow to close to 300 billion in next 5 years' time, which is an outstanding speed, 5x growth actually, if you can ask me, or maybe little more than that. It basically has the potential to cut down the transaction fees, which it has started delivering now. And as a result of which, I think the suppliers, who may be, I think, the smallest suppliers, would come onto this platform. And this platform is available to B2B buyers as well, which means that I think anybody from global markets, I think, can access this platform and buy Indian products from this platform. That is the underlying activity assumptions that they have brought in. Along with the complete fulfillment of transaction through the logistic management, they brought in this particular platform, and the platform has already started delivering results. As I see some numbers here, this particular platform is exactly, I think, giving the vendor a chance to grow the size of the business, of course, but at a zero cost, transaction cost. And you are not restricted to the likes of only few, that is Amazon, Flipkart or JioMart, but I think you are given a complete democracy as far as this platform is concerned. So this is one more area which has come up. Central bank digital currency, which is the third area, which is the kind of a platform that government has already brought in, have already started the business. What a wonderful initiative it is. Once you have your own central bank's digital currency, and through that digital currency you start settling your trades with the global traders, maybe B2B or at some point of time on a B2C basis, the transaction cost, as far as I think your trade is concerned, comes down. Today the merchants, for buying and selling of their products, when they have to convert the export transaction into the local currency, anywhere between 4 to 6% is the assumed cost on that particular transaction because of the conversion of the currency. Now with this dollar going out and rupee trade getting settled, with even countries like Russia it has become reality, countries like UAE it has become reality, total savings due to the cut down on the cost is potential somewhere around 350 billion US dollars. Again, this particular saving comes into the economy. The companies, of course, I think they get the benefit out of it. And we believe that I think this is another level of disruption that has started already happening. We call it in capital market language de-dollarization of business. When the de-dollarization of the business happens, any part of the world will take a note of it. And I guess I think India is getting objected by USA, rightfully so, because I think we are taking such kind of moves, which is definitely undermining the strength of a currency dollar at this point of time. So this is the third wealth creating platform which has happened, which saves money and at the same time grows the wealth. Logistic is the fourth one, which we believe, again, I think has the potential to bring a significantly large amount of savings into the economy. Currently, as a cost to GDP, logistic is about 14%. With the rail, road, railways, waterways, airports, connectivity already happening and happening at a faster pace, it is expected that by 2030, the cost is coming down to 8% to the GDP from current 14%. China has already achieved it in their 20 years journey. So there is no reason for we not making it happen. I think this is exactly happening. Again, I think the saving with this kind of logistic management happening, the figure would be $600 billion, which would be saved by the country. Power and the renewable segment of power, which is another level of disruption which is happening in the country. We used to have the thermal power as main source of power, with small component coming from hydropower. Today, there are as many number of alternatives in the power segment, You have solar power, wind power, compact biogas, the small nuclear plant which they already got working in China and Russia. Of course, they are the leaders in this space along with America, and I think we have recently in the last budget provided provision for this, or provided for the small nuclear power plants. That is again, I think, going to be, I think, a main game changer as I see it. In a while, I think I'll speak out the numbers also. Along with that, you have green hydrogen, which is another thing which is going to create a significant amount of change. Today, solar power is about 2.5 rupees per unit. Wind power would be somewhere around 3.5 rupees per unit. The small nuclear powers would be, I think, somewhere around 5 rupee per unit. Green hydrogen could be somewhere around 4.5 rupee per unit. Currently, the industry may be spending in the vicinity of around 8 to 10 rupees per unit as a power cost. With this blended power cost, along with renewables, likely to bring down the cost of the power that the industry would fetch to somewhere around 4.5 to 5 rupees per unit, that too in next 5 years' time. Again, a saving of a large amount, frankly, because of, I think, the source of power getting changed. And last but not the least, I think another disruptor, which is a data communication, high-speed data communication. Laid down a complete fiber-related communication bandwidth in this country. Mobile telephony is what the B2C customer is experiencing, but at a B2B level, I think you are largely traveling onto the fiber. And that's where, again, I think the speed matters. So the productivity jump is about 30 to 40% as can be seen, and it is likely to be more with the kind of a new AI framework which is coming up. We believe that, I think, currently at this point of time, the gains are somewhere around $100 billion plus kind of gains, which are likely to grow even further. Friends, why I gave this framework? When I started talking about the 20 years belongs to India, when I started saying that the economy would probably transform from what $2 trillion in 2014 it used to be, to become somewhere around $12 trillion in 2035, which is about a 6 times growth in 20 years' time. You must understand what is the underlying framework for the economy. If the underlying framework is progressing strong, that means, I think, the economy is not only going to grow, but to a greater extent it will sustain this particular growth. And that's where I believe that, I think, this level of disruption should be noticed. Because if you notice this level of disruption, then probably investing becomes easy. Our job is to, I think, make money through the investment activities. I was curiously looking at, I think, where exactly the world is traveling now. On one side, I think we created this beautiful infrastructure framework. We called it India Stake, which I explained. On the other side, I think we are now ready to latch on to what the global economies the world has developed for us. And I will take you back to America, where I think the entire origin has happened of artificial intelligence. Many people feel that artificial intelligence would create loss of jobs, would, I think, probably result into destroying some of the economies, etc. I think my viewpoint is slightly different on this, and why it is different, in 1 minute, I think probably I conclude that part. When I started in capital market, I used to go to the floor for execution of transaction. It was an open outcry system. I was young at that point of time. Early 90s, the stock exchange decided that we will go electronics, we will go digital ultimately. So I was chosen in that particular activity to frame the entire digital market for the country. I was part of that development activity which we did. Today, at that point of time, maybe whatever the Sensex value was, the daily average turnover would be in the range of around 100 crores plus minus. I'm talking about mid-80s, early 90s kind of a situation. And when we were developing this online trading platform, most of the people said that, I think, we'll be jobless. Similar situation which people are talking about went with AI. And somewhere I did not have that entire baggage of past, so I said, how can they be jobless? We are creating a system, so there will be more jobs. Very few takers for that actually, because market was operated out of Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Madras at that point of time. And we created this entire system, completely democratized, power in the hands of individual to execute. And finally, it is in front of you. Today, 1995, we started electronic markets. Today we are in 2025. Whatever 30-year period that we have traveled, 100 crore daily turnover has become, on a given day, 80 lakh crore daily turnover. And we are across the universe. So, frankly speaking, when the technology comes, threat will come. But that threat is not real threat if you are utilizing the technology for the real growth purpose. And that's the point I think which I'm going to put across when I'm going to share some amount of my understanding on artificial intelligence, that how the globe is moving ahead with. America is the mother source of all this activity today. They have created beautiful infrastructure. In the pyramid structure, if you look at, they have created beautiful infrastructure. The likes of Google, the likes of Microsoft, the Oracles, Meta for that matter, Amazon. All of these people have actually created a beautiful infrastructure in form of computing at the bottom level of the pyramid. And that's what I think they are championing at. They want to grow this particular activity to a sizably large level. And they are providing variety of, I think, technology upgrades to all of us. In this value chain, if you see, at one level, I think you have got all the infrastructure players who are providing the infrastructure, including the supercomputers, including the semiconductors. I think all of them would come at the infrastructure and the products levels, which is level 1, level 2 from the bottom. One level up, all your software infrastructure sits on the top of it, which currently we all are using, including the systems of the world, whatever the Microsoft systems which we are experiencing, or the SAP system that we are experiencing, any ERP system for that matter, or any other software which we all use it. I think they come one level above that. On the top of it, I think there are product providers, countries like China, significantly, I think, playing a role in providing the different kind of products into the computing space. And country like India, which has got a fantastic bandwidth of providing the software-based solutions. So we come one level above that. And finally, I think now the LLMs have started coming in, large language models in the global market, which we call AI. All the Geminis and the ChatGPT of the world, they come and sit on the top of all these layers, and they extract the maximum amount of, I think, intelligence from the underlying infrastructure play that we have. People like us, the country like India, they sit on the top of everybody. They utilize the data center of Amazon Web Services, AWS as we call it, or Microsoft Azure for that matter. And they utilize, I think, the entire computing power which has been provided by these data centers. And we create applications on the top. And we create some significantly large amount of difference in the world market. Our ability to produce the applications for use cases is unparalleled. And that's where probably I think we bring down the cost structure in a systematic manner. It is the same example as we can think about in case of the data communication infrastructure that we built. Largest data communication network across the world today with the cheapest ARPU cost that the world can probably imagine about. So we are the champions in that sense, that we adapt the technology to a smarter level, we create larger level of disruptions, and we create, I think, size of wealth, which otherwise I think is difficult to make in this kind of universe. Having said that, these American companies were probably, I think, the likes of NVIDIA, which is $5 trillion market cap, or for that matter Microsoft, I think, which is about 4.4 trillion market cap. Even Apple, for that matter, 4.5 plus kind of trillion market cap. All of these companies have actually very systematically, I think, been advancing in the AI space, and they have created huge amount of wealth. What is the wealth that we are talking about? As we call it, the fabulous 9 or magnificent 9 in American language standard, the likes of Meta to the Google, to the Microsoft, to Oracle, Netflix or Tesla for that matter, whoever is working on the AI framework, these 9 companies put together they have about $23 trillion of market capitalization, market wealth, out of the total wealth of around 69 trillion market cap of American markets, which is almost one-third. A one-third of the market cap is enjoyed by these 9 companies, and they are growing at a speed of around 40 to 50% CAGR growth. So we look at this kind of numbers. We look at, I think, who is making a difference in the universe, where exactly they are coming up from, and how they are converting the use of technology or utilizing the technology and creating the use out of it for their success. Now, many a times I think we wonder, okay, is it a same kind of a situation which is a .com kind of a situation? Partly the answer could be yes, AI may have been hyped. But today, I think if you see the AI related developments which are happening, from a generative AI, which is your ChatGPTs of the world, to predictive AI, which Amazon kind of company is utilizing for the purpose of demand predictions. Today, coming Christmas, Amazon would probably provide the input to all their suppliers as to which product will sell how much. What kind of demand would be there for each product. So today companies like Hindustan Lever or Unilever for that matter, they use this framework of predictive AI, wherein they would know that what kind of products would be in demand in coming festive season. And accordingly they produce. So gone are those days wherein they used to produce in bulk and then used to sell in a discount sale. Those days are over. Because if at all there is a discount sale happening, it is overnight discount sale on the online platform and you are done with it. You are not having any inventory in it. This is a classic inventory management system under this predictive AI proposition that we are seeing. Again, leading to significantly large amount of saving for those companies, of course, but creating a very large size wealth creating opportunity for those investors also who have invested in these companies. So we find, I think, they are similarly being used by government also, I think, in various areas of activity. In fact, our government is proactive. They are basically utilizing the platform for creating the policies using the predictive AI. They want to understand how the behavior of the consumer is, and based on which I think they are creating, they use the AI to an advantage. According to me, I think this entire GST rate reduction activity has happened out of this thinking process itself, maybe utilizing the data in a very smarter way. No wonder, I think despite of the rate reduction, I think the collection in GST has not come down, on the contrary it has gone up. So I think this is a predictive AI, from generative AI to predictive AI, and one level up, agentic AI. Today you will find the human voice in some of the application where they are interacting with you. Hardly do you realize that they are not actual people. It's a virtual agent sitting on the opposite side, interacting with you in the language in which you talk to him. And you find, I think, it's a human understanding that he is carrying. Whatever you speak, I think he replies to that question. This is the kind of agentic AI role which has already started happening. Many companies have started adapting the sales force using this agentic AI, and the developments are continuing. Now, people obviously ask a question. Okay, sir, what will happen to those people who are in the call center business? So what will happen to those people who have been, I think, going feet on street for selling, etc.? And we tell them that this technology is only powering further the activity. They are not completely replacing the humans, unless the human themselves refuses to change themselves by adapting the newer skills. It's like, I think, after having the Microsoft Word, if you insisted that I will type on typewriter, only God can save you. Okay. The similar situation is today, that after having the predictive AI to agentic AI in the universe, if you insist that I will do the conventional in my business, I think nobody can help you. I gave example of capital market, I think what business setting it is handling today, and it is only going to grow from here onwards. So we believe that the wealth is created when you disrupt your existing ways of working. And that's where your focus should be. This is not day-to-day trading activity. This is more of a deep value investing activity. Because the companies like NVIDIA who used to be quoting at 300, 400 billion market cap in 2022, and came ChatGPT and they started utilizing the computing power, I think the market cap ballooned to $5 trillion. Wealth got created. You patiently invested in NVIDIA, and I think the wealth got created. You need to remain invested. That is the underlying assumption. A lot of patience would be required when you want to create wealth. Maybe in Indian context, where we see the opportunity, should be my last drawing reference out of this wealth creation opportunity that we see under disruption. As we see it, some of the large companies have actually adapted to the framework of AI in a very systematic manner. And probably I'll take you with one or two examples only, because that is the easiest one to, I think, probably travel with those examples. Companies like Reliance, when they launched their Jio platform in 2016-17, at that point of time, I think the Jio platform probably had a value close to zero, because I think that business was not started. And at that point of time, at least somewhere around 8 to 12 telephone operators were operating in the country. I'm talking about 2015-17 period. And questions was asked that I think how can one would have more number of players into this. And they were right in their questioning. What we saw thereafter is a completely transformation in the entire activity. What they did with the voice, they made voice free. They brought down the data to a level at which nobody imagined in the world. They actually used the headcount numbers to travel with low cost data. And today they are 210, 11 rupee per kind of ARPU. That company was close to zero market cap at that point of time. Today they are 125,000 crore top line, 65,000 crore EBITDA. Total capitalization in the business could be somewhere upwards of 3.5 lakh crores. And they are the most profitable company in the universe as far as this business is concerned. 8 years, 9 years at the most, since they made their operations on a commercial scale basis, this company has ended up creating a market wealth of 10 lakh crores. Next year they are going IPO. Hopefully they will touch 10 lakh crore market number, and I think they will offer the IPO. What I'm trying to say is that they disrupted the process of existing telecom players. They created a complete framework. For the paucity of the time, I will not be able to expand that subject more. But the fact is that they created a complete framework which displaced most of the players. And today in the Indian universe, if you look at it, there are 4 players, including BSNL. Last 2 are not even making money. On the contrary, I think on the verge of whatever. And the first 2, Jio and Bharti, both these companies are in the profits. Why I use this example? They came in last. They jumped into the subject with a proper preparation, captured the complete market, disrupted the entire existing process, created a wealth in 10 years' time from 0 to 10 lakh crore. I believe that similar kind of situation is emerging in different other verticals. Friends, I think my whole point here is, and which Durgesh Bhai gave the topic to me, disruption leads to wealth creation is your subject. My whole point here is that unless and until I think you challenge your conventional way of working, you are not going to create the wealth. The traditional way of working has only one thing to happen. The pressure will come, I think you will come down. Decline is imminent. This world demands that I think you create better impact. And that's where I believe that I think the opportunity is. Many things can be talked about, many examples can be taken. We have to respect the time, but the fact remains that this is probably one of the best times that we all are experiencing as a generation. Next 10 years for India should remain the best wealth creation years. Our market capitalization, which currently holds around 5 trillion, hopefully I think we will be seeing $15 trillion market cap number 10 years fast forward from now. So these are also a few words. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for patient listening.
Thank you very much, sir. Your speech reminded us on an important verse in Bhagavad Gita, wherein it says, Udbhava sthiti samhareshu nitya brahma swarupine, meaning the divine remains constant. Here we can take it as wealth, remains constant amidst creation, preservation and destruction through all the transformations. Sir took us very nicely through the global perspective and effect on the Indian economy of our country. And definitely, this all life cycle applies to our CA profession as well. Change is constant. I request the dignitaries on the dais to present the memento to our past President Sri Aniket Talati sir and the speaker Sri Deven Chokshi sir.